Hi everyone, we're going to be doing chapter 2 of The Alpha's Saviour, and I had a very interesting request to read this as a valley girl who just worked an 8-hour shift in retail despite only getting 2 hours sleep the night prior because there was a spider she saw run under her bed. Now this sounds like it's just gonna, obviously you're gonna start with a valley girl, and I had to practice this because this actually is really hard to keep a Valley Girl. Fun voice to practice, but one that was working an 8-hour shift in retail, so regular day, but only 2 hours of sleep. So it says like one that's probably just wants to cry and go back to bed. And I really would like my coffee. Maybe at her wit's end. This one's gonna be hard. I am from Southern California, so we'll see how this goes. For those of you that don't know, this book is going to continue to get saucier and saucier, and I haven't read this before, so I have no idea what's coming, and it's gonna get really awkward. So, enjoy. Let's start, I guess. Chapter 2. Haley. I blink my eyes open and squint. The fluorescent lights above my bed are uncomfortably bright and are definitely not helping my pounding headache. It takes a second to remember what happened, and I realize where I am. Groaning out loud, I cover my eyes with my arm. I'm supposed to be staying below the radar, not ending up all over hospital and police reports. Welcome back. Headache? My nurse asked brightly, picking up a cup of water from the sideboard in the room and handing me a little plastic container with a couple of painkillers in it. I tip the tablets into my mouth and take a few sips of water. I scoot back up the bed into a sitting position, pulling the thin blue blanket up with me. How are you feeling? You've been out for a few hours. She asked gently, coming to my side to take my pulse and wheeling over the blood pressure monitor. It's the same nurse who admitted me last night and took all my details. She's had a long shift. Fine, I answer. I feel like a bit of a fraud for taking up a hospital bed, to be honest. You were in shock and almost hypothermic when they brought you in. You must be exhausted. We'll keep you here overnight, just to be on the safe side. Anyone you need me to call for you? I paused for a second before shaking my head. I moved here to keep my mess away from my family. It makes no sense to drag them here now. No, I've just moved to town, and I'll be home again before my parents can even get here. I answered. She pats my arm reassuringly, like after finishing all her checks, and quietly leaves me alone in the room. My thoughts immediately turn to Cooper, and my gut clenches as I wonder how he is doing. I should have asked the nurse when I had the chance. There isn't another hospital within a 2-hour drive, so he must be here too. I picked Gray Ridge to move to precisely because it was small and remote, completely different from the city I lived in for the last 8 years. Traveling long distances to get medical care is one of the trade-offs for having clean country air. An ache blooms in my chest as I wonder whether he survived. Maybe it's common to feel emotionally connected to someone after a traumatic event, but this seems a bit dramatic. I'm normally pretty level-headed, but I can feel panic rising every time I replay the scene in my mind. I can remember his beautiful deep brown eyes looking up at me from under thick black lashes as the emergency services took over when I got pulled away. He was so brave, willing to sacrifice himself for the child without hesitation. Maybe when I get my life back on track, I'll be fortunate enough to meet a good man like him, instead of the idiots I've picked up in the past. A soft knock on the door pulls me from my thoughts, and a familiar pair of icy blue eyes peer around the door. It's my handsome helper from the scene of the accident. Like, is it okay if I come in? He asks, pushing the door open wider. Sure, come on in. I nod, and he smiles brightly, shutting the door gently behind him, and crosses the room in 2 long strides. It didn't register at the river with all that was going on, but I now realize this man, quite good looking. I'm normally a tall, dark, and handsome kind of gal, but nobody can fail to see how attractive he is. With his dark blonde, jaw-length hair, tan skin, and strong jawline. He's tall and well-built, and I recall how easily he carried me in his arms. Looking at his biceps bulging out from under his sleeve of his t-shirt as he moves. It makes a bit more sense now. I suddenly feel a bit exposed, self-conscious, in my thin hospital gown, and stinking of dirty river water. I'm grateful he doesn't stand too close. How are you feeling? He asks. His expression is friendly, but his tone is serious, as though he's genuinely concerned for my well-being. Oh, I'm fine. They're just keeping me overnight as a precaution. I dismiss his concerns with a wave of my hand, and he frowns a bit, as though not entirely convinced I'm telling the truth. How is your friend? I ask, keen to divert the attention away from myself. I'm almost afraid to hear the answer. After a few moments of silence, I glance up from under my eyelashes to find him gazing at me intently. I'm never one to shy away from eye contact, but even I find this intense. It's as if he's trying to read the depths of my mind. The urge to look away is strong, but I hold out and arch an eyebrow at him. Keen to know one way or the other, I get the impression that he's deciding what to tell me. Maybe he's worried about breaking bad news to me. I'm nauseous at the thought. Cooper's alive, he tells me. But he is pretty banged up. Obviously. He had surgery for internal injuries, suffered several broken bones, and ended up with lots of stitches. But by some miracle, they're pretty sure it's nothing that won't heal. Thank fuck. He smirks at my colorful language, and I let out the breath that I didn't realize I was holding. I drop my head back against the pillows as tears well up in my eyes. I wipe them away quickly, embarrassed at my emotional response. If anyone should be upset, it should be the man in front of me and not a stranger like me. Sorry, I'm just so relieved. I did everything I could, but I guess I just didn't see how, he could make it. I draw in a ragged breath and shake my head, trying to remove those negative thoughts from my brain and pull myself together. He stares at me again, as if trying to work out a puzzle, and nods and smiles. I just wanted to stop by, and thank you. If you hadn't done what you did, he would have drowned. If you need anything at all, anything, please let me know. We are forever in your debt, Haley, he adds, leaning forward and gripping the rail of my hospital bed, the sincerity clear in his eyes. We? Who are we? Does that mean Cooper has a girlfriend or a wife? I mentally chastise myself for having such strange thoughts about a man I don't even know. Whether or not he is in a relationship is none of my business. He reaches out and presses a piece of paper into my palm with his name and phone number written on it. Before folding my fingers tightly around it, I glance down and read the name on the paper before looking back up at him. I'm just glad I was there to help. Ethan. He nods again before turning and striding out the door without looking back. Odd. I can't decide if he was just expressing his gratitude or if he was hitting on me. Surely a man as good looking as that isn't shy around the ladies. If he was hitting on me, I'm pretty sure I would know all about it. Or am I just out of practice? I can't keep going.
Maybe I'll continue chapter 3 with this, but that was painful. That was painful. That was a Valley Girl going through some shit. I tried my best. Guys, keep letting me know what accents or voices or characters you'd like for me to try. I will attempt whatever I can while reading this. I don't even know what I read.
They ask you how you are, you just have to say that you're fine when you're not really fine, but you just can't get into it because they would never understand.
This was chapter 2. Hopefully you enjoyed it. Chapter 3, coming soon. I just need you guys to let me know what you want to hear. Slap at the like button, hit the subscribe button bell. I don't know YouTube. Put your subscribe, like, tell your friends, share the links, all that stuff. Comment. That's what I'm saying. Yeah, that. Like, comment.